Ultra-processed foods are engineered not just for convenience or shelf life, but for irresistible appeal, formulated to override the body's natural signals of hunger and fullness. Through the deliberate combination of sugar, fat, salt, and synthetic flavorings, these foods become hyperpalatable, stimulating powerful dopamine responses in the brain similar to those triggered by addictive substances. The result is a pattern of compulsive overeating that can mirror the behaviors associated with substance dependence. This phenomenon, often referred to as food addiction, is now being recognized as a legitimate concern, one with serious implications for both physical and mental health. Unlike whole foods, which generally satisfy hunger and encourage a sense of fullness through fiber, protein, and complex carbohydrates, ultra-processed foods are constructed to keep people eating. They lack satiety-promoting nutrients and are often soft, easy to chew, and rapidly digested, conditions that allow for higher consumption in shorter periods of time. As people consume these calorie-dense, nutrient-poor products, the brain's reward pathways are activated, releasing dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. Over time, repeated stimulation of these reward centers can dull their sensitivity, requiring larger or more frequent amounts of the same foods to achieve the same satisfaction, a hallmark of addictive behavior. This dopamine-driven cycle is not just a metaphor. Brain imaging studies have shown that individuals who frequently consume ultra-processed foods exhibit changes in areas of the brain linked to impulse control, reward sensitivity, and emotional regulation, paralleling patterns seen in drug addiction. People report intense cravings for specific foods like chips, cookies, soda, and pizza, often feeling a loss of control over how much they eat. Despite knowing the negative consequences, weight gain, health problems, or emotional distress, they may find it difficult to stop. This loss of control is especially pronounced in children and adolescents, whose brain development makes them even more susceptible to reward-seeking behavior and habit formation. Food manufacturers exploit this vulnerability with sophisticated strategies, including bliss point optimization, the precise ratio of salt, sugar, and fat that maximizes palatability and encourages repeat consumption. Flavor enhancers, emulsifiers, and texture modifiers are added not for nourishment, but to amplify taste and mouthfeel, making the food almost impossible to resist. Packages are designed to look inviting, with bright colors and slogans that appeal to emotion and convenience. Portion sizes are often deceptively small, encouraging consumers to eat multiple servings without realizing it. These practices create an environment where moderation is not just difficult, it is biologically and psychologically undermined. The consequences of addictive eating behavior extend beyond caloric excess. It distorts the individual's relationship with food, often leading to emotional eating, binge episodes, guilt, and shame. People may use ultra-processed foods as a coping mechanism for stress, anxiety, or boredom, reinforcing a cycle that further disconnects them from natural hunger cues. This compulsive pattern can interfere with social activities, disrupt sleep, and impair concentration, becoming a source of constant internal conflict and self-criticism. Unlike drug addiction, which typically carries a social stigma and is more easily recognized as harmful, food addiction is often normalized or even celebrated in advertising and culture, making it harder to address and more deeply embedded in daily life. For those struggling with weight management, the addictive nature of ultra-processed foods makes sustained dietary change far more difficult than simply choosing healthier options. The biochemical pull of these foods, combined with their near-universal availability and aggressive marketing, creates a formidable barrier to long-term behavior change. Even individuals who are highly motivated to eat healthfully may find themselves repeatedly drawn back to the same processed products, leading to cycles of restriction and relapse that mirror those seen in drug withdrawal. Worse still, the food addiction model often plays out silently. Many people are unaware that the foods they consume daily are designed to hijack their brain chemistry. They blame themselves for a lack of willpower, internalizing a sense of personal failure, when in reality, they are responding to a deeply manipulative industry that prioritizes profit over public health. This shame-based narrative not only exacerbates mental distress, but can delay or prevent individuals from seeking help or making effective dietary changes. In children, the risk is even more alarming. From an early age, Kids are exposed to ultra-processed foods through colorful packaging, fast food meals, school vending machines, and media advertisements. Their developing brains are especially vulnerable to habitual reinforcement, meaning that eating behaviors learned in childhood may persist for a lifetime. As a result, ultra-processed food consumption becomes ingrained not just as a preference, but as a default pattern of coping and self-soothing. Ultimately, ultra-processed foods are not merely unhealthy, they are habit-forming by design. They promote a form of dependency that rewires brain circuits, erodes dietary autonomy, and fosters compulsive patterns that are extremely difficult to reverse. The comparison to addictive substances is not hyperbole. It reflects a growing scientific consensus that the mechanisms of processed food addiction are real, measurable, and profoundly dangerous. Without recognizing and confronting this reality, efforts to improve public nutrition and reduce obesity rates are unlikely to succeed. Until consumers, healthcare providers, and policymakers understand the addictive potential of these products, the cycle of compulsive consumption, and its vast toll on health, will continue to spiral out of control, affecting millions with consequences that go far beyond the dinner plate.